Rahlyx
Scarfee.
Julien.
And together we are...
ADHD. Oh.
Go for it.
I don't know.
That sounds about right. That's
Three
how
pals.
all of our podcasts
Yeah,
go.
let's go. Oh my goodness. Hi everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Keepin ADHD, where we have our wonderful guest, who for me on the Discord call is below me, but on the thing he's above me. It's Julien. Say hi to Julien, guys. Hello.
Hi, wherever you are. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for having me. What an honor.
Thank you for coming on. Like
Dressed
bless.
like a cowboy with a really big hat.
I'm just
that's a nice
yeehawing
hat.
over here. Thank
And,
you.
uh,
I just got it. It's really comfortable.
And also slippery when wet sign on your shirt.
That's clean, right?
Okay, this?
Yes.
Actually, it is a slippery one. Wet. It's clean merch, but I think it works both ways.
Yeah.
It does work.
Yeah, I dig it. I
Works
dig
both
it.
ways.
I see Turl is having a day.
We don't need to talk about that guy. He's
Oh, bless.
yeah.
He is
He's
cotton
He's
socks.
always having a day.
Yeah,
He's always fine. So we don't have
That's
to
true.
really worry about him. So
this is fine.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Oh,
okay, well,
bless.
I mean,
So how's
for
your
everybody
day?
who's
Like-
listening,
Oh yeah.
who doesn't know who you are, do you want to really quickly introduce yourself?
Wow. No. Do I have?
Okay.
Can
No,
I
that's
not?
cool. No,
I'm
yeah.
just
Okay,
kidding.
moving on.
Next topic.
I'm on Twitch. I'm a camboy.
Hell yeah.
That's literally it.
Throw them biddies. Dance for
Yeah.
me, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's right.
You
I play games
used
on
to
the
be-
internet.
I dig
You
it.
used to be more YouTube focused, but now
That's
you're
right,
kind of
yeah.
like moving over to Twitch.
Yeah.
Steadily.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I never thought that I would remain on the internet without making YouTube videos, but here I am. So
I can dig it.
yeah.
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 And you're having fun with it, which is
I am having fun.
the most important part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are obviously having fun watching. Y'all have been popping lately. Like every time I pop in, it's like 4K concurrent. I'm like, hell yeah. I love to see it. So many pals. Oh,
Yeah, Twitch is wild. It feels very random at times too, but I think there's like a combination of the games you're playing and the people you play with and the times you stream and how much you do for your stream outside of being live and kind of everything. I mean, you both know, so
Yeah.
but
That's like
it's
the
been
trick
good. It's been good.
of content creation is like finding the balance between living your life normally and doing everything that you have to do. So many people think like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go stream on Twitch. It's easy money. Just play video games and go. It's like no.
Yeah.
That's not how it do.
Yeah.
It's like Kate tweeted like recently too, about how people usually assume that it's so easy to do, but then there's so many more other things to it, and like people just don't realize it, and it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
people tend to-
seeing someone live is literally, I guess you could describe it as the tip of the iceberg a little bit. There's like so much that goes into it before they actually start streaming. Obviously, that's the prime time. That's where you're,
That's where it all
being a
comes
person.
together.
Yeah, exactly. That's that's what people see, but there is a lot that goes into it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
Just
like
imagine, some people go to like a public event or like public outing and they talk to their friends for like an hour or two, and they feel tired from that. Imagine sitting on a stream for 6 hours straight, having to constantly talk to people.
yeah.
Right.
Just that aspect alone, not saying that that's like the most difficult thing, but like that aspect alone, imagine like just sitting and talking, just how much work that requires for
Right.
hours straight.
Remember the before times when we could sit and talk in person? Those were the
I
days.
don't know what that
dude.
is.
This is kind of similar too. We're just sitting and talking here.
I think back
That's
to
nice.
like TwitchCon 2019, and I'm like, oh my god, like that right now is terrifying as a concept to me. Like, I don't want to be that close to that many people.
Yeah.
It is a little bit scary to think that we all just hung out with a bunch of strangers and then got home and all got sick and we're like, yeah, it's just the con flu.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's really gnarly to think about.
Take
but
some emergency, you'll be fine. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, shit.
no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It is interesting how of course the like everything happening is it kind of like put a damper on everyone's mental resources, let's say that. But it also is interesting how it created so many new ways. Like, it forced people to creatively think about, okay, I miss my friends. Like, I miss people that I want to hang out with. Like, I want to talk to people, and I want to be like around my friends, but I can't physically be around them. So what do I do? That led to so many new like communities and internet projects and like internet communities coming together, and it's like really wonderful to see. Like,
right, yeah, I agree. I mean, your podcast was born last year, was it?
Yeah, it was in August.
Yeah, in August.
Yeah,
we were sitting just like shooting the shit, and I think it was on stream. And
yes, it was.
And we were like, oh, we should start a podcast. And they're like, nah, nobody's going to want to listen to that. And then chat was like, yes, we would. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, and like,
okay.
Every single message is like, yes, please, yes, please.
Please do that. It's like, okay.
And we were like, okay. And then literally 2 days later, we recorded the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. And what, now you're at 25?
Yeah, this is the 25th episode.
Wow.
So that's kind of like our milestone.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And we
big.
hit 100 subscribers yesterday.
Heck yeah.
Congrats.
So
that
we
is
should get
awesome.
that custom
That
URL
is amazing.
soon too. That'll be tight.
Custom URL?
Yeah, dude.
Damn.
Damn.
All right, hold on. Settle a debate for us, right? We were talking about this. We aren't sure if we should make our custom URL Keepin ADHD or KiADHD.
Ooh, okay.
That's
interesting.
We have Keepin ADHD everywhere as our socials.
I honestly think just purely for the convenience of saying the URL, have the full thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you can say, what is it? Like youtube.com/keepinitadhd.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's how I would go. But listen, it's your custom URL. I'm not going to tell you what to do with it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean,
That's kinda
we're
what we were
asking you for
leaning
advice
towards,
because
but-
you're a professional.
Yeah. Nah,
No?
you're the big.
No,
No,
first
you're not.
mistake. I'm not.
Oh no.
Nope.
We made
No,
a
no, no.
mistake.
Well, okay. So, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I want to know how you both are enjoying podcasting.
It's a
It
good
seems like you're really enjoying it, but I want to hear.
I really enjoy it. I think it's a good time. There are some days where, like, the lead up to the podcast, we're just texting and we're like, God, I don't know what we're going to do today. This is just going to be, we're just going to get on the camera and it's going to suck. But then we get in and we kind of like loosen up a little bit and it's like, we're good here. We're good. No worries.
Yeah. It's definitely a process, and like also a learning process where you have to kind of do it a few number of times to get out of that mindset where like, okay, what do I say next that is entertaining, or like what do I want to like talk about? You just you have to learn to take yourself out of that mindset and be like, okay, whatever comes, and then we'll just deal with it. And then even if it doesn't turn out well, there's always next week. It's just.
Exactly.
It's something that
Right.
I've been trying to come to terms with because I am a perfectionist and I don't deal well with failure. So it's just like, okay, just let it go. We're gonna do it better next week, and it's a learning opportunity. I would say
It's like last week I think we talked about this already once, but last week while we were recording, we got 3 minutes in and then Discord went down. And then we bumped up Zoom, and Zoom is hot garbage. So we're like, no, we're not doing that. And then Discord came back up, and we hopped back on. And we started recording, and then Scarfee's audio broke. We finished the recording, and then I forgot to post the social posts in that morning. So I tried to do
level
it.
the audio.
Yeah,
When it
Scarfee
rains, it
forgot to-
pours.
Exactly.
Yeah, it just everything went wrong that day,
But-
and
Yeah.
Oh man, it was.
but
such
then
a mess.
I had to I literally had to take like a step back, and I was like, that's fine. Just next time it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, it sounds like first and foremost, you're enjoying it. Yeah, that's number one. And you guys both have a really good back and forth, which I think a lot of people want to start podcasts with friends. And I think it's kind of rare for you to hit that sweet spot when it's you have a little charm with how you talk to each other, and it translates well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
No,
that,
it's nice. And but yeah, it's 100%. Podcast 1 is going to be different from podcast 10, different from podcast 100. It's just you're always evolving and learning, just like we are as people. But no, it's awesome to see that you're really doing it. You're 25 episodes in. That
It's
is nice. Yeah.
We thought we were gonna make like maybe.
I'm glad
5
you're part of
episodes
it, by
and then
the
call
way.
it.
Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you for
I'm
being
happy
a
to
part
be.
of it.
Yeah, thank you for the invite.
Means the world to us. So, Bless. Yeah, no, we thought we were gonna do like 5 episodes and then probably like, oh well, it's fine. But it's
actually
it's cool.
it generates like a really like I know that that is something that you also talked in your podcast like a while ago maybe that it's like a safe space for you. Like it's also like a space where you come to like, okay, I'm just here to talk, just hang out, and like I'm inviting all of these other people who are the audience. I'm just inviting them in on our like little hangout time, and it's it's a really nice feeling when people are also like people you like get messages and say like, oh, I always just put you up in the background, and you're like, are you seriously?
Yeah.
And it's just like it's such a warm feeling when you're like, I'm hanging out with my friend, but also it feels like I'm hanging out with so many other friends as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just such a great like moment,
Absolutely. Yeah.
You see the warm fuzzies.
Mm-hmm.
It's I was talking about, I don't remember who I was talking about it with, but it was one of those things where it's like, sorry, this is a bit of a pivot. So I was watching Marvelous Miss Maisel on Amazon, which is great. 10 out of 10 would recommend. And my first girlfriend is in season 2. And I was talking to Kate about it. Yes, yeah, she is. And I was talking to Kate about it. It's like, it's so bizarre when you're growing up. You never expect like people or yourself to be like the person on the screen. You know what I mean? And it's so like, it's so surreal to me that like people like come into chat and they're like, oh, I love your podcast. Like I put it on, like Scarfee was saying, I just put it on and I hang out and it's like, this is weird. I feel like I shouldn't be here. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's super surreal.
No,
it is definitely a new thing.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, there's such a great sense of community when you have people come into your chat and say, hey, I love what you talked about on the podcast. I mean, that there's no real better feeling than that.
Yeah.
Because you feel like what you're doing with your time is making some sort of difference or affecting other people in a positive way, which is cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it also is like a really good tool to find common ground with like some people, or like conversation starters for like when you talk about a certain thing in a podcast and then a person comes to you and they're like, oh yeah, I also love that thing that you've talked about, and then you just start a conversation. It's just like, okay, I just made a new friend. That's it's so great. One of the things, by the way, that we wanted to talk about is you and Rahlyx have in common. Actually, I'm just here, but I also kind of am interested in that thing. But filmmaking is one of the things that you both do, and I'm really interested to hear like you are one of the people that like other people usually like refer to, like, oh, where do I find like really good cinematic shots or like really cool cinematic work? And usually people are like, oh, Julian's channel. And it's a really like really good thing to hear. And I just wanted to ask, like, how did you get into that? Like, what led you to discovering that, oh, I like filmmaking? Like, did you always know?
Yeah, I think it was sort of like everything in my life, which is kind of trial by fire. And it just took me trying different things to find that spark and figure out what I liked and what, as far as content goes, what I felt was the most rewarding for me. Like at the end of the day, putting a full day of work into something, like what could I do that made me feel the most like full inside, that I was like, man, that was fun. The process was cool. I feel like I learned a lot. And then at the end, this video came out of it, and I don't hate it.
You want to be proud of the result.
Yeah. And I think also it sort of gave me a little bit of direction online. Because like, I don't know, like in the early days of me making YouTube videos and like learning that whole space, like I feel like maybe I was floating a little bit for a while there, and which is fine because everyone has to find their own footing and where they want to go. But I think being creative and finding like videos to make that were important to me, like helped drive that, path. And then obviously like meeting the people within that same kind of niche helped a lot too. Cause you meet people and you make friends, and then you sort of like inspire each other to do better. But yeah, I remember the first time Rahlyx, came up to me and was like, hey, I fly drones and I'm a filmmaker, and I'm, it immediately like makes me want to talk to people and like learn about what they're doing, because there's so many people out there doing so many different cool things that yeah, it just, it makes that connection so much easier and more natural when you meet people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, for you, it wasn't like finding your own style of content creation, basically. And when you find other people who do kind of same style, but also something differently, it's always interesting to hear like, oh, you do this thing differently. It's like, oh, when I talk to Royce also all the time about editing videos, he's like, oh, I usually use this tool to do like that thing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that I usually do it this way, and it
Yeah.
results in like multi-hour conversations about like content creation and editing. It's just it's really great.
I learn a
You have
million
natural
things
connection
watching
with
Royce,
people.
dude. Royce is just
Yeah.
he's a machine.
Yeah, he's very good. But yeah, Talking Shop is super fun. I love it. Yeah.
Check out RoyceRemix on
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah, he's RoyceRemix on everything.
It's fun for me, especially in the early days when I was like figuring out what I wanted to do with it. Cause like, I mean, I said this the other night. I was like in 2017, I got out of college and I was like, I'm in a job. I didn't go to school for this. I'm trying to find something that I'm passionate about. And like growing up, my brother and I always made, we'd steal our dad's camera and like make home movies and all that kind of stuff. But like, it's just, I lost my train of thought.
No, actually, what you just said, I think that's something similar that you also talked about before, Julian. Where you're like, but you used to make you used to make videos with your dad or like with your brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you used to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my dad, he's a filmmaker and he's done a lot of things, but for a while he was very much a filmmaker. So he had a little flip camera and he had his editing software that we just kind of had at home. So yeah, me and my brother used to make silly little videos, and my dad would join in. And then I eventually enrolled in a film class in high school, which was awful. Like it was the worst.
Oh my god.
It was so bad. I was so focused on baseball in high school that like when admittedly when I would take electives that I knew I had to take, like the film class, I was just kind of there. And I was like, all right, what do I got to do? And I think the teacher just hated athletes. I don't know what it was. It was like this weird, like,
Oh, bless.
I think it's pretty understandable. It's like, you're trying to teach the art of filmmaking, and here are these like dummies over here who are wearing their jersey on game day. Like, you just get with the program. But I look back on it.
I can probably tell you that they secretly called everyone the knuckleheads.
Probably.
Those
probably.
knuckleheads.
Yeah. And I hung out with knuckleheads too, so whatever. But
that would make sense.
But looking back on that experience, like it was cool because it gave me an opportunity to go home and be like, "Hey, Dad, I have to do this thing," and he would get so excited. His eyes would light up because he comes from that space, and he was like, "Oh, we can do this," and that sort of I think affected me in a really kind of positive way, where I was seeing his enthusiasm for it, and I realized I had it too. I just didn't know it. So yeah, making a lot of those videos when I was younger, and now I really regret making them because somehow they found themselves online, but that's not here nor there. That's fine. But yeah, I did make some videos.
Don't go looking for
I gotta go digging. Hold on, BRB.
One time I was in New York with my family. I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15, and me and my brother had a laptop, and the fire escape was the window to the fire escape was open in like this high rise that we were in.
Okay.
Oh no.
It was like this shitty hotel, but it was in New York, so it was like new to us that you could go out onto a fire escape, and like we could see the Empire State Building. So we took the laptop. We're like, check this out, and we're like vlogging our way out onto the fire escape, and that's it. And you can't see anything on camera. It's so dark and shitty. But I remember like how psyched we were to be doing that. So that was my first vlog.
Amazing.
I thought that was gonna go with dropping the laptop off the fire escape. So I'm glad it didn't go there. Oh, bless.
I remember those times when people used to vlog with literally laptops. It's just, oh my god, the wild days of YouTube and the internet. It was something special.
I remember being like, when I was like 13,
amazing.
I used to really want to be, I think maybe 13. I don't know, I used to really want to be Philip DeFranco. And so I have on an old unlisted channel, I have a lot of like really terrible videos of me like trying to be cool.
Super edgy.
Yeah, super edgy and cool, and
Yeah.
like trying to be like, oh, who the heck is Justin Bieber? I don't know. What a loser. I don't know.
The
I'm
early
like,
days
oh my
of
god.
the Franco with boobs and thumbnail.
Exactly.
Yeah, people vlogging on laptops walked so people today could run
Absolutely.
vlogging on their
Definitely.
phones. Yeah.
Very
They
true.
they basically founded YouTube. they began YouTube.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
we have to give them credit.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to say that, like, the interesting thing that you mentioned New York is because I think my passion for writing came from me also visiting New York.
That is awesome.
Like, yeah, I currently
Dig it.
study in game design for like writing stuff, and like I write characters and whatnot. But
that is so cool, by the way. I love the first
Thank
time
you.
I heard that you were going to start pursuing that. I was like very excited, and it's really awesome that you're doing that.
Thank you. But, yeah, something awesome out of that probably is not going to come out for a while. But yeah, that's also one thing that we're going to talk about a little bit later, because from the point of a game developer, watching you playing The Last of Us was very interesting. But back to my New York story. Welcome to the ADHD podcast.
Perfect.
Yeah, when I first visited New York in 2012 with my parents, we went like on a trip across the United States, because like I finished high school, or not high school. I finished the 9th grade really well, and they're like, okay, we're going on a trip, and we went like on a cross country
favorite
trip
rocket
to the
ship.
United States, and we started in New York. And I started writing like an entire diary of what we did every single day, and I would describe it like in a very vivid detail. And then my mom said, "Okay, do you want me to give this to me so I post it online?" And I was like, "No," and stopped it.
No touchy, no, mom.
No, it's for me.
no, my diary, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, it basically kind of like it scared me, because I was like, I'm not ready for people to see this. I'm writing this for myself right now, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stop it for now. But that kind of like kickstarted my. Oh, and I went online later, and I started writing like for existing games. I started writing extra characters, extra abilities, and stuff, and it just kind of like snowballed from there.
Well, yeah.
It's
So
Very
it's
cool.
interesting that it kind of started in New York City, and you mentioned New York City in your
Yeah.
experience. It's just like,
Those DVD
Yeah, I was
concepts
just sticking
that you
around
made,
on a fire escape. So you were having like a realization about what you want to do with your life.
fire escapes in New
bless.
York, the perfect
Yeah.
formula. If you don't know what to do with your life, go to New York and go on a fire escape.
Be careful on the fire escape. Let's
Yeah,
let's
be
add that
careful, yeah.
qualifier. I don't want any kind of liability. Oh,
Yeah,
please.
disclaimer.
Fire escapes are not particularly safe. Just I saw, dude. I saw a video of this guy in Chicago, and he pulled a beach. He pulled a
said-
icicle off of the side of a fire escape, and it was like this huge, and it was a lot heavier than he thought it was, and so he immediately drops it as soon as it gives from the wall, and it crashed through this person below him's window, and it was like, oh god. Sorry, it's a
No,
total
thank you.
pivot, but yeah, no thank you. Not at all. Bless. I feel like I should have got Olive in here. Oh well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll-
Olive, get in here. Peachy, come here.
This is
Let me go
this
grab
is
her.
the,
Hold on 2 seconds.
This is the Iggy convention.
Come. I'm calling you.
All the Iggies convene.
Come on.
If you guys are listening to this podcast, go to youtube.com/KeepinADHD. Probably, hopefully, if we can set it up by the time this episode goes up.
That was my
But-
favorite thing about last week. I'm listening, and I just hear you guys making noises, and I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And then Scarfee goes, "Oh yeah, we both have cats that have just taken over the podcast." So I was like, "Oh, I get it now. I
Yeah.
appreciate it for the audio listeners. We're not
Yeah.
just making noises for no reason."
I try to stay conscious of that
There,
because
Olive, hi.
it sounds sometimes
What a
it'd be like
cutie.
there's some weird noises and you don't know where they're coming from, and it's just weirding you out because you're listening to a podcast and you don't know what's happening.
Right, yeah, you have to remember that a lot of people
Yeah.
just listen to the audio.
Yeah.
That's another learning thing with a podcast. I just remembered, like, okay, transitioning from a conversation that we had about like filmmaking and stuff.
Yeah.
What pushed you into the like, Aries Kitchen? To say like very generally, what pushed you in the direction of like making cooking content?
I think it was a few things. I think I was ready to stop making my life my content for a lot of years.
Which is valid.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I enjoyed those times. I really enjoyed making vlogs of my life and my day-to-day experience of just living. I think I wouldn't trade that, having gone through that and documented what I documented. But I was tired of my life being the content. I wanted to make content that wasn't about me.
Yeah.
And I think making food in my kitchen, yes, I'm on camera. Yes, it is about me in a sense. It gave me the chance to sort of separate myself, where I could, set up my cameras, set up my lights, come up with an idea, go shopping, and then lights on, action, I record, right? And then I'm done a few hours later, and I pack everything away, and I'm done with work. And it sort of gave me this, it made me feel a little bit normal. I was like able to show up, do a job, and then go back to being like a person.
Separating yourself from your work, basically.
Right. Yeah. And I think that mentally that's where that came from. But I also just I've always enjoyed cooking. Even from like a young age, I was always in the kitchen helping my mom, to the point where she was like, please get out. I was like, no, I want to be in here. Like, let me be in here.
The Aries Kitchen episodes with your mom are adorable.
Yeah. It's, I want to have her back and I want to do more. It's so funny because like every family member ever for me was like, please have your mom back. Like that was very hilarious to watch because they all experienced it in real life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was just about giving myself a chance to make content outside of my own life. And, I really feel like when you create a set for yourself in your kitchen, you're able to like be kind of creative. You like put your cameras where you want and you get exactly the shots that you want. There's no ifs, ands, or but. Like, if I'm out in the street vlogging and I wanted to get a time lapse of this, that, and the other thing, I might not get it because it's just you're documenting.
There's just a bunch of other people walking by.
Right.
It's just
there's no planning. There's no control, and you're sort of in control with the cooking video. So I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It kind of ties into what we were saying earlier about just like finding the balance of like being able to separate in your head. Like, yes, I am working, and now I'm living.
Super important.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at some point with vlogging, like I've seen a lot of people talk about this who did daily vlogging for a while on their channels and stuff, and it's like the thing that they talk about is your life becomes your job, and you can't turn off. Like you mentally, that line of where your job ends and when your life begins just disappears, and it's like, what do I do with my life so it's interesting to document? That's what it becomes most of the time, and then it becomes toxic.
Yeah, every single life experience could be turned into work. It's just you're totally right.
Yeah, and it just like you have to get yourself out of there before it becomes like it boggles you down and then ruins everything around you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and one thing that you said while you were talking about that is finding all of the perfect shots. I love how you didn't just completely pivot your content from, oh, I'm making like cinematic content and like I'm like making vlogs about my life, to just cooking. Like it wasn't like you were like clean cut, I'm making completely different content now. You were like, okay, I'm gonna merge these two passions that I have together, and then I'm gonna make a really unique experience for people who are watching me. And that was like, I think for me personally, like it was the moment when I was like, oh, this is genius. This is a genius content creation here, because you didn't completely abandon your previous version of yourself. You evolved instead, and it's like, it's really respectable, is what I'm saying. And I just
appreciate
really
that.
enjoyed it.
That's really nice. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what also makes creating content online so dynamic, is that everything that you decide to do, you're putting your own brand on it, which I think, I appreciate that though. Thank you.
The cooking video in the desert with Will was just,
oh my god,
so good, dude.
Thank you.
Good.
That was one of my favorite videos I ever made. Like, just the experience of it. I loved making that video.
Yeah, and you and Will look so well together. I mean, work so well together.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
I look
you also
well
look
with him
good-looking
because
dudes,
he's
too,
good
so-
looking. Yeah,
You guys
Shouts
are
out Will.
both great looking guys. So like,
Bless.
but I mean,
Yeah.
you guys work really well together in terms of like your creative stuff and everything. And with Aries Kitchen Live as well, it was like, mwah. It was beautiful success, and I just really enjoy your guys' chemistry working together, and I really am looking forward to when you guys can do more and like
Yeah, me too.
If you're planning to do something like
that. It was a no-brainer to pick him to be a part of that project. A lot of people don't know. I've known him for,
Aqua boy.
Dude, I've known that guy for a long time, way before I started gaming with him. And yeah, he's fantastic, and he is one of the funniest people I know.
Absolutely. Yeah. I already told you this on the back porch when that was happening, but I don't know if you remember that at all. But it's the first time I met Will at TwitchCon 2019. Mm-hmm. The first thing he did when he met me, he was like, "Oh, hey, Scarfee, yeah, I know you from the internet. Do you want to see a picture of how Jason sleeps?"
Yeah, with the blanket. I do remember we talked about that on the porch.
I don't know what this is about to be. Yeah. Then he shows me the phone, and it's just Jason sandwiched between 4 pillows.
What an icebreaker. Nice to meet you. You want to see a picture of my friend sleeping?
Yes.
Why not?
Totally normal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely normal.
That's how you know, yeah, you got a good one right there.
True.
Yeah. That is hilarious. And I just adore Will. I just wish his streaming schedule aligned with my schedule and stuff, and I could just be there and hang out.
Mm-hmm.
I love his streams. Such chill vibes.
Mm-hmm. The best vibes.
Chill, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Backing up 2 seconds. The drone shots in the desert video?
Thank you, sir.
So good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I remember when you showed the previews on stream, and I was like, and then it came up, and I was like, yes, it looks so good. Fuck.
That was, thank you. That means a lot coming. I know you fly drones, and you're good at it, so that's cool to hear. It was one of those, I wouldn't say few, but like kind of rare opportunities, at least for me, that I get to do drone work with dual pilot, meaning I'm controlling the bird and someone else is controlling the camera, or vice versa. So you have absolute control over the shot. Whereas if you're flying the drone by yourself, you're flying the aircraft and you're also manning the camera. So you have to worry about everything.
Yeah.
When you split the responsibilities up, you can get so much more creative. And the desert is surprisingly like not easy to shoot with a drone because it's so flat and there's nothing.
Yeah.
But we found a few like mountainous spots. We found some of those yucca trees that we could get real close to, and yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. But thank you. Yeah.
What were you flying? Was it the Inspire 2?
Yeah, it was the Inspire 2. Yeah, that's the one we dual pilot.
I look at that on DJI's website all the time, and I'm like, I don't need it, but I really want it.
I don't need it.
Because my brother lives with me now, and so he's learning to be a pilot, and so a lot of those
a drone pilot or like a pilot?
Pilot.
Oh wow!
But all those skills that you learn as a pilot are the drone things are like a fraction of what you learn as a pilot. So he's like, oh, I could just go and get licensed, and then we could do, like big old drones stuff. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's really
when I got my Part 107, learning a little bit about. I mean, it was just a tiny bit, but you learn a little bit about like air traffic control and what the pilots actually have to know for takeoff and everything. It's super interesting. It's a whole world.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It helped when I was studying for mine. My brother had just covered a lot of that material in his pilot training courses. And so it was
super cool. So there's like crossover.
Exactly. And so we'd be like quizzing each other on it. And it was like, I feel like I'm in aviation now. I'm cool.
I know. You walk out of the room, you're like, all right, who wants to take a trip? I'll fly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, bless.
It is so amazing.
Dude, taking that test because in a mask.
I barely know anything about this. So this is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
I'm like a listener now.
Dude, Scarfee, one of these days, when things go back to normal, I'll come over there and I'll bring my drone so I can get my...
Oh, absolutely.
That way I can get my Vancouver hat back.
Here.
That's the only reason I want to visit, is to get my Vancouver hat back. That's it.
Yeah, because your Vancouver hat is still in my car. From TwitchCon 2019.
Because we drove up to LA.
I remember we said goodbye right before y'all left, right?
Exactly.
You were driving together. I remember that. Yeah.
But I also drove him there too.
Yeah.
Because I was driving from Santa Cruz, which is like 6 hours north from LA. And literally lined up that when I was passing LA was when he arrived to LA into the airport.
So you slowed down to 40 and he hopped in?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then he was waiting for the Greyhound to go to San Diego. And it said that his bus was delayed by like an hour and a half or something. And he just like called me and was like, hey, where are you right now? And I was like, well, I am about to enter LA. And he's like, can you come pick me up?
Perfect.
I was
I
like,
love that.
sure.
Oh, when timing works out like that,
Yeah.
I love it so much. Yeah.
It was so good. Like everything kept getting delayed. That trip to get to TwitchCon was like the trip from hell until Scarfee picked me up, because it was like every flight I got on was delayed. The Greyhound was indefinitely delayed. I was like, oh my god, I'm never gonna make it.
No.
And I was working the whole time I was doing it, so I had like my mobile hotspot up in my work laptop, and I was like, I'm here, don't worry, I'm not in a Greyhound station, I promise.
Yeah.
And then we stuffed all of our stuff in my tiny Jetta.
It's true.
and then we drove for another 3 hours.
And somehow
remember the Jetta.
we still were able to fit all of our stuff and then Jason and Gabs' stuff on the way back. It worked great.
Oh,
So-
yeah. Jettas are
Incredible.
surprisingly spacious. Like, I am 6'7", and I drive that car.
It looks
So, like,
it looks like an optical illusion.
it is quite German cars, dude. They're
German
what can I
engineering
say?
slaps. Let me tell
great.
you.
Mm-hmm.
I used to drive a CC and I got rear-ended. They were going like 60 and I was going like 20. I got rear-ended. You couldn't tell that my car was hit at all.
Wow.
Dude,
It's
the same
wild.
thing happened to my friends. They were driving a Volkswagen Passat.
But yeah,
They were like, they got rear-ended. That guy's front smashed
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
Their car, not a scratch on it.
literally
It's
all they
like,
had to
what
do was
the
replace
fuck
the
just
bumper. You could
happened?
look and there was like bending in the paint, basically. That was it.
That's it.
Alright.
My mom drove a Eurovan, a VW.
yeah.
I know those. Oh, my god.
What a vehicle that is. Absolute tank.
Yo,
Dude, that's an ultimate family vehicle too.
Oh my god, it had a top that popped up into a bed, like a bed, and then the whole back seat folded into a bed. And so that was just like our little league hangout area. We would drive to the park and have games, and in between games, we would just literally sleep up there or hang out. It was
that's tight.
it was a clown car, and we were clowns.
That sounds so great.
I love
Yeah.
that. Oh,
Sounds like
bless.
amazing.
Okay,
well,
I'm trying to
To
find
pivot
like
a little bit
yeah,
from
there
the
we go.
things that are amazing to things that are a little bit depressing. The Last
Let's do
of
it.
Us.
Let's do it.
God,
Ready.
that game was so good though, wasn't it?
Oh my god.
I
oh.
watched you play it from beginning to end, and I'm just gonna say this was my 7th time watching people play this game,
Okay.
and I still cried like a baby at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
I wasn't so bad at the end, but it was early on. It always gets me after everything happens with Joel, and then you're in Joel's house,
Right.
and
Oh
you see
my
the
God,
picture of
yes,
him with
that's
his daughter,
no.
and I was like you hit that, and I was like, God damn it, I've seen this so many times, and it's still like, oh, I want to cry
Yeah.
thinking about it. Like, God damn.
That's when you know that the writing is good,
Mhm.
because it just hits you every single time.
Mhm.
And it's very relatable. I wanted to talk about specifically, like, favorite characters. Like, I know that you said on stream that one of your favorite characters would probably be Lev.
Right.
That
from
was
the
a
game.
great character.
Is that still that? Would you still say that Lev is your favorite character?
Yeah, I think Lev is interesting because he's sort of this like embodiment of Ellie in a way. And
Oh, true.
you know, because the way Abby and Lev have that relationship. And so I think also what happens is Ellie sees a little bit of herself in Lev. From the very little that Ellie knows about Lev. I mean, she really doesn't know much at all other than that Lev looks like a Seraphite and hangs out with Abby and shot Dina with an arrow and, you know, is on the bad team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
But he was
but,
also the
team.
one who
Yeah.
prevented Dina from being killed.
Right, exactly. And I think those are the little things that Ellie was able to pick up on as far as Lev's character. So, you know, I like that. I like that. I like a character that's so brief. I mean, in a way, so briefly in a story. Lev really didn't have a whole lot of screen time, but they packed so much into Lev's character
Yeah,
that actually ultimately affected the outcome of the game, I think, very drastically. So that's why I liked Lev, you know, and I thought he was scrappy and, you know, just kind of a
Scrappy,
badass.
resourceful. Hell yeah.
It was honestly an amazing character.
resourceful. Yeah.
That was one
And
of the things
the representation always
Always amazing.
always
Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I also love how it's not in your face at all.
No,
They don't
you're
even
right.
directly like one of the things that you mods said in the chat while the chat was going wild about it is
Right.
that it's not even mentioned directly at any point. They're
Right.
just saying
Right.
he shaved his head and that's it.
Right. Yeah.
There's-
And you hear the
there's
pronouns.
Some
and-
dialogue that.
yeah, you're right though. It's not in your face.
Yeah.
It is
which,
implied always.
Yeah.
Which I think also it adds more weight to it because that's not why Lev is Lev. That
Yeah.
doesn't
Yes.
define Lev. It's just part of who
Lev
he
has
is.
always been Lev.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It was very like real life feeling, that storyline.
Yeah, that's also another thing that you said while I was watching you play, is that like this writing feels really, really real. Like it's something that you would actually hear about happening. Like it, even though it's set in such a like unimaginable. Well, after the year that we had, it's not. I don't think
right?
it was
It's a little bit
really
close to home.
unimaginable.
Right. Yeah, I think with certain dialogue moments and cutscenes, and even just like mid-level discussions that you have as Ellie or whoever, sometimes you're having a discussion or you're watching a discussion, and then the discussion ends or the conversation ends, and nothing really gets solved or fixed, or there's no revolutionary one-liner, and then bam, it's over. It's like it's just sometimes they just say things, and then they just kind of move on. And that felt the most real about how they wrote for the story.
Yeah. I love
Even
like
during
the interactions.
combat sometimes, which
That's true, yeah.
just astonished me, honestly.
Right. Yeah.
I loved when you'd just be like wandering a place and there'd be like quick time prompt, you miss it, it's over, and it'd just be like have a little pop-up conversation. There are so many times I'd be like looking at a document or something, and then I'd hear the pop-up, and I'm like, no, let me out.
Yeah, I need to get this.
I want to hear this.
I know. Speaking of hidden pop-up prompts, I'm gutted for anyone who missed the "Take on Me" bit with Ellie. Because that's missable. You can miss that.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen for everyone.
So the fact you literally can just never even go into that music shop.
You can never go to the music shop. You can never. That was probably the hardest I cried throughout the whole playthrough, and you can miss it.
It's
crazy.
That scene is so good.
Yeah,
that's one of those games though that I almost appreciate, because there's so much that you can miss that it really lends itself to multiple playthroughs, because you can go back and go like, did I miss this last time? I don't remember.
Yeah,
like
I think you're right. Yeah.
I'm still mad you didn't play on hardcore mode first time though. Come on, no deaths, dude, no deaths.
I'm gonna do
You're
a
not a real
grounded.
gamer.
I'll do a grounded playthrough soon.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll really start to suffer.
Okay.
Grounded plus permadeath. It's always a good time.
Grounded permadeath. Bottles only.
Hell yeah. Add in the cartoon filter, and I think you got a game going. You know.
What is that?
So you can add different filters to just go over the whole game. And
it
so
just
it just like
looks
makes
different.
it like badly cell shaded.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's so cool that they added all those modifiers like that.
Yeah, dude.
They were thinking of the replayability for sure.
Oh my god, Naughty Dog and Detail is just like it's synonyms at this point. With the way that they make games, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I played through the whole game streaming to YouTube for Scarfee.
Yeah, I was literally the only viewer.
Yeah. Sometimes Crayson, but Crayson would never join voice chat. Except for the very last section of the game. We're literally at the scene of Ellie and Joel on the porch where you finally get like the closure of what was happening. And like halfway through the scene, Crayson's like, well, I'm gonna head out, guys. I'll talk to you later. It's like, Crayson, no.
Yeah, I had my
so
internet
funny.
dropped out like an hour after I finished the part 2, and I was so fortunate. I was like, this is the first internet outage I've ever had where I'm like thankful that it didn't happen like an hour earlier, because I would have never forgiven Spectrum for that if it cut off and like intersected that moment. Whew,
Absolutely.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yep.
Quick side pivot. I
is-
saw an ad for Spectrum Mobile, and it's like, why would anybody want cell phone service from a company that can't keep their normal internet consistent? Like, come on.
Drag them. Drag them. Sip that tea.
I was like half asleep and the ad popped up, and I was like, what the fuck? Get out of here, dude.
Hell, get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, bless. Sorry.
okay,
as a
well-
pivot. Anyway.
No, yeah, completely understandable. So listen, this podcast is ADHD podcast. This is about
perfect.
pivots, okay?
Yep.
That's true.
So we're just here to like talk about whatever pops into our head. But yeah, one thing that I wanted to mention is like you said, the like missable things, missable like stuff and artifacts in the game that you can completely like miss in the emotional. I don't know if you know, but you never mentioned, but that the switchblade that Ellie has. Do you remember that it's the same switchblade throughout the first and second game?
I guess I didn't pick up on that. Is there like a design on it that I missed?
I think that it is mentioned in the Left Behind DLC or in the first game. I'm not sure because those kind of blend together a little bit.
Right.
I never played the Left Behind DLC. I need to do that.
Yeah, you should. It's really good. It's
good.
actually
Yeah.
it is also a little bit different from the first game, so it's not as clunky in terms of like gameplay. But what I was gonna say is that the Switchblade it's mentioned that the Switchblade Ellie got from her mother. So that's her mother's Switchblade. That's why she always checks for whether she has it, or like she always has it in her back pocket.
It's like her most important item.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of her keepsakes from the old world.
Yeah.
Like where she came from. And then if you notice, in the last battle with Abby knocks it out of her hand and she loses it. So not only did she lose
she pulls it on Lev, and then in the fight she loses it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow.
it's also one of those parallels, like not only did she lose all of the connection to Joel, she also lost all of her connection to her past self completely.
Right. Yeah.
Like she doesn't have the hairstyle, he doesn't have the friends, she doesn't have the knife anymore, she doesn't have like anything. And the bite mark is covered too. Like nothing from the previous past self is left over.
Right.
Yeah.
She's completely alone.
They left it open
And that is
for
like
a really interesting
the most
3,
heartbreaking
though.
realization.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rahlyx, I talked over you.
Sorry, no, I was just saying they left it open for a really interesting 3 though, which they're gonna make.
Yeah.
She's a completely new character, and honestly, she could go in any direction at this point,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true.
which is really interesting. But I'm also really excited about the HBO show.
I forgot about that.
I'm very curious about how that's gonna turn out, but I'm open mind. Hope it's great.
Love me some Pedro Pascal. I'm always down for that.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you what was the name of that guy who played in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So
Love him.
that is going to be interesting for a Joel character.
Yeah.
He's got the beefy man archetype ready to go after being the Mandalorian.
He's got a
for so
great
long.
voice too.
Oh, such a good voice.
Absolutely.
That's I forget his last name. Troy
Baker.
Troy Baker.
Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only
what a
reason I
voice
know is
on that guy.
Oh my
Holy
God.
shit.
Yeah, oh my god.
Jesus. I was watching interviews and I was like, damn, he really sounds like that.
The only
That's
reason
him.
I know about him is because I watched Sean Jacksepticeye.
Jacksepticeye.
Septiceye? There you go. Yeah.
You got there. That's important.
I watched Jacksepticeye play The Last of Us 2 completely too, and he would always literally, because he's friends with Troy Baker, he would always just literally every once in a while just mention Troy Baker like as he was playing, and it's
Right.
just it was also so wholesome because he would finish playing a scene and he was like, I'm so ready to text Troy about this. It was just really funny, and oh god, I love him so much too.
Troy Baker's
Is
is
super
wonderful.
Yeah.
There was that year, a couple of years, I guess, like 2 or 3 years, where like every game that came out had Troy Baker as their like lead voice actor. God, that was a golden
Rightfully so.
period. Like, and if you haven't played it recently, BioShock Infinite still stands up so well, and
BioShock
eerily relevant in today's times. So that's another Troy Baker game. Love that.
Also to come back to one point that I made before,
Yes.
about me as a game creator watching you play The Last of Us.
Right.
It is a very interesting like perspective when you think about it, because backseating is one of the big problems when you stream. Like, you would agree, right? That's one of the things that would ruin sometimes games for you in the past too. And
Yeah,
it's like
or even just like deter you from ever playing it on stream. Yeah.
like you have to have a really tight grip on it, because otherwise it just like goes out of control.
It's like
But
Jacob's
that's
Breath
one
of the
thing that I
Wild,
had
yeah.
to battle with myself, because with me watching you play this game, it kind of like meant that two sides of me personally as a person met. The person who is just passionate about video games as like a hobby. I mean, like, I want everyone to have the best experience that they can playing the game that I love. And I was really tempted to be like, oh, you missed this, missed that, you like go back, and like it's like something that I have to suppress within myself, because I know that it really is not a good thing to do, and also like not a good thing to say, because then it starts off a chain of people just saying the same things over and over and over.
Yeah.
But the other side of me of a game developer is also like, you should restrain yourself, because that's how you should be taking the feedback about your own game.
Right.
Because one of the interesting things that people don't talk about playtesting, that people don't know just because people are not in the industry of game making, is that you have to give people an unfinished product of your game and just sit there and not let them talk
Just
without
watch.
telling them. Yeah, just watch and not let them not telling them what to do, when to do it. You can't. You have to let them figure it out. So you,
Right.
as a designer, know. Oh, maybe I should put a pointer there, or maybe
Right.
I should remove this element because it seems to frustrate people.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
watching you
that's
figure
gotta take
out
a lot
The
of
Last of
restraint.
Us.
Yeah.
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 Sorry, what do you say?
I said it's got to take a lot of restraint for you to sit there and just,
Yeah,
as a
absolutely.
game designer, just be like, all right, they're just doing it all wrong, but I got to watch them do it or whatever, you know?
Absolutely. And that's also like kind of like having ADHD and having like really easily like losing control over my emotions is a really good exercise too, because like watching you play The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2, it was like, okay, he's doing this his own way, because usually when I play, I do it all stealth. Like I go all stealth completely, and I try to conserve everything as much as I can.
Right.
And especially the Rat King
Oh my
moment
god.
in the second game.
Rat King sucked.
This guy right here, Rahlyx, also had a big moment with that guy. What I would say is, you also said that when you were playing it, is that it could have been designed a little bit better, because it was at the end of the very lengthy
Yeah.
period of you just fight, and then
Boss.
the big fight was at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like you're
Yeah, I
already
had the
strapped
same
for
issue with-
resources. Like, oh.
Yeah.
And
I
you're
had the
also
same
like
issue with
emotionally and
frustration.
mentally like not sharp. You know, not that you should start at a level with a boss fight, but yeah, it felt like I was like, holy crap, we really
Yeah,
gotta
a
do
break
this
in the
now?
middle would have been nice.
Yeah, yeah. Even just
And
like
a
a
little
long
bit more
cinematic or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
But yeah, the thing that I was thinking about it is that like if they put a little bit more loot after the last fight before the boss fight, that would have been better.
Yeah.
Because every single person that I've asked that played this section always say, I always land in that situation with nothing.
Right, right.
And it's
Well,
like,
because it's like a big fight and then the boss fight. There's no like lull. Yeah, I had to beat that by spawning loot. I had to loop him long enough to where loot was spawning in the middle, and then I had to. God.
Like, the game has a mechanic where at a certain point it says it sees that you're stuck, and then it starts spawning things around you too. And it's like, okay, now you're just pitting me.
Yeah.
Like, now you're saying like, oh, you're so bad. Here's some extra resources for
Right.
you, noob.
For me, that
There you
was
go,
battle.
baby.
Have some bullets.
Yeah.
But that's if I had to point out one thing that I don't like about the game, that would be probably it.
Yeah.
And that it's still like not a fatal flaw with the
Right.
game.
Oh yeah, and
But it
doesn't
definitely
really
is,
even
like-
affect the ultimate story either. Yeah.
Yeah. If I were comparing the design of the levels across the game, that probably would be the point. Like, oh, this is probably comparingly the worst design of the level within the game, but it's still a good design of the level because the fight itself is. Mwah.
It's a fun
when you
fight.
have
Yeah.
a lot of resources, it's epic.
Yeah.
But when you're panicking and running around and you have nothing, it's kind of frustrating.
See, for me, I was playing when I was playing it for Scarfee, I was basically every night after everybody in my apartment went to sleep, I would play because I didn't want to spoil it for any of them. And so I would start at like 1 and go to like 4. And for me, that boss battle was like at 4:30, and I was like, I am so tired and I'm so frustrated. I just want to be done.
I'm honestly glad to hear that it wasn't just my experience with that, because I honestly I got off stream and I was like, holy shit. Like I feel like that game, I love it, but I feel like it held me hostage a little bit tonight.
Yep.
And I'm drained. I feel fucking drained.
Absolutely.
So yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that you had an equally miserable experience.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Misery loves company.
Yeah,
Oh,
we suffer
that's
together.
True. But
Yeah, but then you kind of, if you think about it a little bit, the game kind of holds you hostage most of the time, but they kind of are like walking that thin line of we are kind of forcing you to do the thing that you don't want to do, like the middle pivot to playing as Abby.
Right.
Like so many
Right.
people didn't like that, and it was kind of that line of, okay, we're holding you hostage, for playing this specific portion of the game the way that we want you to play it. But then later on, we want to bring you in, and we actually want you to want to play this.
Yeah, there's a payoff, and it's so different from any game I've ever played. Like, oh my goodness, it makes you start to question all of the games you played where you killed this NPC and what that NPC's backstory was.
Yeah.
How fucked up did you make his life by doing what you did to this just like nobody on the side of the level, it completely turns everything around, which it's just such an undertaking, right? Like you develop this whole other story. You create this character of Abby with all these different people behind the scenes. You have Colleen Foch, the CrossFit athlete who they model the body after. And then they have Jocelyn, the face model. And it's like, and then there's the voice model. They have 3 people making up Abby, which I learned is fucking incredible. But
it is incredible.
They went through like all of the steps to make it a fully fleshed out story that could almost like stand on its own, but it was within Ellie's world. So they like 180 the camera, and they're just like, all right, go ahead. This is the direction now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found my. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like throughout the playthrough with Abby, you say turn around the camera. It kind of also flips the camera. Oh, here's what you did.
Yeah, this is the dog that you murdered specifically.
Right.
Here's all these people that you killed.
Right.
Like,
Enjoy.
Great. Love that.
It's sick. It's actually sick.
Yeah. I found by the end of the game, I loved Abby, and I was so sick of Ellie. I was like, and like I understood.
And that's so interesting. So interesting. I fell in love with Abby too. I loved towards the end. I was like, I didn't want anyone to die.
Exactly.
I was like, you both are so special in your own right, and you're so dynamic, and you're so lovable and hateable, but I don't want either of you to go down.
I put the controller down when you're in the water. I put the controller down. And then I got killed. But
I'm so glad I got through that fight without a death scene, because I needed it to be over.
Yeah.
I needed it to just be done. But it reminds me though, like there were a few it's sort of like a metaphor for the game of The Last of Us, but there were a few death scenes where, and I mean death scenes as in like I died, you know, and then it cuts to black. My screen's black, and all I see is my stupid reflection, and it's like, you did this, motherfucker. You fucking did this. And I almost want to say that they did that on purpose, like put a mirror up. Yeah. All this carnage, it was you. It wasn't
that is a
else.
very interesting take on that.
That clip of when you're in Santa Monica and you jump off the side of the cliff. That's just
yeah, that's not what I meant to do.
I thought that's where I was supposed to go, dude. It looked like a linear path, and then I just yeeted myself off the cliff.
I'm surprised that was the first time you did that in the game.
That is so good.
Because I accidentally jumped off cliffs so many times when I was playing.
Big same.
Because the environments look so real.
Right,
you could go. Yeah. It looks like you could go anywhere, which is
open.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I loved exploring like the sky rafters with Lev.
So cool.
So cool. I really refused to angle the camera down for more than a few seconds, but like
it brings you in. It makes you feel like you're up there.
Yeah.
Dude, I have fear of heights.
The sound design was incredible up that height. You hear the wind and it gets foggy. It feels like you're up there.
Yep.
I have a fear of heights. I was scared for Abby while I was playing that part.
Well, and that vertigo filter they add in when you look down as Abby. Did you notice that?
I just noticed it made me feel sick the whole time, so I don't know. Maybe it was the filter.
Well, it did its job then.
If you're up on top of something and you look down, your camera goes from like normal to kind of like a weird kind of like pan out and blurry.
Fisheye warp, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And Abby starts going like...
Yeah, she starts like breathing really heavy.
Yeah, you hear the panic in her voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just... Oh my god, so many details.
Can you tell we love this game?
I could sit here for hours. I want to talk about it forever. It's such a good game. It's still so with me. Like I'm still thinking about it all the time.
Well, one last moment that I wanted to mention about the game and like the things that you both said with the like by the end I learned to like love Abby's character too.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about games is that gaming is probably the only medium where that could possibly happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you were watching a movie with a similar storyline, you're like, I don't care about this part of the movie and just skip forward.
Yeah, you're a spectator.
You're a spectator. I don't care about what Ellie did because it was a character on the screen, as opposed to I was holding the controller and
exactly. Yeah, the writer who wrote that bit, it's their fault. I don't need to worry about it. But you're in it. You're doing it. So you're right.
It's really easy to displace blame on somebody else with that in that like scenario. But when you were actually the one pressing the button,
that's a really good point.
To kill the person, you were like, oh, I did that.
Yeah. And you also were made to feel a certain way, like you maybe celebrated or something.
It just, the point is like it places all of the actions weight on you. And that is the reason why I went into writing into games and not movies.
I can see why that is. I mean, it seems perfect for you. You're obviously so passionate about it, and you're really talented. And just hearing you talk about it is cool because it's a different side of the coin. You know.
Yeah. I just love it, and I love when I see like really good game writing. It just makes me happy. You know. So
yeah.
I just want to do similar things, and
it's also interesting though, like. So to compare it to a game like Life is Strange, a game that I played, so much of Life is Strange is about making decisions and seeing how your decisions will affect the outcome of the story and the characters and everything, which I love, but holy shit, it's stressful, especially when you're streaming it. You don't want to do the wrong thing. You don't want to cause someone's death that didn't need to die.
Yeah.
The Last of Us is so interesting because it's the same but so different. There's no decision you have to actually make. It's pretty linear. Like there's no real deviation.
Yeah.
Like the game's gonna go how it's gonna go.
It's an illusion of a choice.
Yeah, it's an illusion of a choice, but you still feel like you played a part in everything happening because you did. Even if you didn't press A, yes or no, you're playing. You know, you're progressing the story. It's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting how they did that.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Sorry.
To confirm that what you just said is that the level of viscerality, if that's how you say it, of the last possible moment, like in the game where you have to press square over and over to drown Abby in the water. The amount of people that I've watched that when like I don't want to do this, I don't want to fight her, means that they achieved their goal of like making sure that it emotionally impacted the people who played the game, and not even the talking about the negative reactions, the people who still wanted to kill Abby. It still was like an emotional impact that it made. Like, I want to do this. Like it still left an emotional impact. Whatever,
good or bad, it made them feel something. Yeah,
absolutely.
And that was the point. And that is just like the brilliance of it. Is like no matter what your response was, the fact that there was a response means that it achieved its goal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that is just absolutely we could talk about this game for days on end.
Absolutely, 100%.
And we actually did. We talked about it for multiple episodes. So
yeah, we've talked about it a whole lot. The less
I'm gonna bring it up in therapy.
Hell yeah, that's a mood. It's worth bringing up, I think.
Yeah, man, it affects you.
Yeah,
because it is like, even if it was like people say, oh, it's just a game, whatever. It was an emotional experience for you. Like, it was something that evoked an emotional response, which means it's valid to feel something about it.
Next thing you got to do is strap in the PSVR and play through it. Play through it in big screen mode, so you really feel like you're in it. That sounds stressful.
That's a whole nother level.
Yeah. I played all of Resident Evil 7 in PSVR, and there are a lot of moments where I was like, oh god, no, I don't want to do this.
That's so intense. Holy crap.
Yeah.
The game also has jump scares, doesn't it?
Resident Evil 7 has a lot of jump scares. There's some parts where you're going through this old cabin and you have to squeeze through the wall, and there's bugs just everywhere in the wall. And you're looking around and there's just there's a lot.
I'm good.
But the good thing of it is you aim with your face.
I'm gonna play Valheim.
So. Dude, Valheim slaps. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, and I sat down and played it on Monday, and I was like, oh my god. Like,
it's really good.
I love this
it's a great game. Yeah.
It just sucks you in.
Yeah.
And just like you just enjoy yourself. It's like one of the first survival games that I've played that you feel like relaxed playing. It's not like you're, oh, I need to do this right now, so I'm just gonna go and do it, and then I have to do this next thing. Yeah. It's more like I'm enjoying myself. Yeah. I'm just enjoying myself, and while I'm enjoying myself over here, it's just like I'm also making progress.
It's just nice.
Yeah.
It's just nice. Yeah.
Especially after The Last of Us.
Yeah. I'm hoping.
Talk about it.
I'm hoping that
I built a wall around my base. Sorry, we don't have to.
Hell yeah. I'm hoping that Twitch doesn't burn through Valheim as quickly as we burned through Rust, because I feel like Rust was a thing for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then everybody has stopped playing Rust and on to Valheim now. And I'm like, can this one stick around? Because I like this one a lot. Yeah. Like, I liked Rust a lot, but I really like this one.
Yeah.
One thing that is probably going to help it is just the fact that it has an end game and is just not just a sandbox.
Yeah.
Like,
kind
I
of
don't know
the
what
fun
the
of
end
it.
game is.
It's almost
but-
like WoW, like, you know, because you have raids that you can go and do.
It reminds me of the forest in that way too.
Yeah.
You go and do the cave levels, and then you finish the game.
That's a game I've only ever watched, but I really dig it.
Great game.
I want to play it, but I don't know. I feel like it won't have the same impact that now that I know the ending of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So it's one of those things.
And
I think
maybe you
it's
play
sick.
it when the sequel comes out to get ready for the sequel, Sons of the Forest.
Wait,
That
the
could be good,
forest has. Oh,
Sons of the Forest, yeah. They teased it. It's coming out this year. I don't know when, but
that's amazing.
it looks
Well, we're gonna
really
be waiting
good.
for that.
Yeah, I'm
You're
absolutely
definitely
not.
gonna be playing it, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to play it.
Twitch.tv/Julian.
That's going to be one of the games I play right when it comes out. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. If
Like that.
anybody of you watching are here from Julian's YouTube content and not Twitch content, twitch.tv/Julian, playing a lot of great games and also paying surprisingly a lot of attention, despite the way that you sometimes play some certain parts where you smashed
the
every
plug.
single car window.
Listen, I was going for a speed run, 0 deaths. So
Absolutely, and you did it, and I still can't believe that you haven't died a single time.
I know.
Golf clap,
It's
golf
pretty
clap.
wild.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Wild stuff, dude.
We're
Bless.
okay. We're already like over. Oh my god!
Yeah,
this
we're
went by
hours
quickly.
in. This one's.
It did.
This has been.
Is your producer yelling at you from behind the camera?
Me being the producer, yes, I am yelling
Yeah.
at myself.
Right.
Bless.
Okay, let's wrap this up with a good Inspirabot quote because, oh my god, I honestly could be here forever.
Yeah. So I sent you
enjoying this a
the link to it. It's inspirabot.me, and you're just go until you find something funny. Sometimes they're a little too real, so
Yeah,
just generate
generating
until
them.
you find something that tickles you.
What is this?
It's AI generated inspirational quotes, and it's
Okay.
it's
Okay.
terrible. It's so good.
So I just read it.
Yeah.
This one says,
This
one says-
first to describe generally like what
describe
is in the
describe the
It's for the
picture.
people
oh,
who
okay,
are
describe the picture.
Yeah.
Huh. So it looks like there's like bokeh. There's like lights in the background of a blurred shot. It's like very yellow and brown. And then there's 2 words on it. And it says act owned. So that's my
that.
favorite.
That's a
I
good
like
one.
that one.
You can't
Oh,
you can't do
bless.
that. You just completed a 0 death speed run. You can't.
You're
act
not
owned.
owned,
You weren't
yeah.
owned.
Act
What
owned.
are they talking
Get
about?
It should say get owned.
Yeah.
That would be very inspiring if it just says get owned.
So if you copy that image and drop it in the group
Should I
chat.
print it on a mug? Is
Yes.
that what you want me to do?
Yeah, actually, if you could print it on a mug and then fax it to me, that would be tight.
Okay, is your fax machine? Make sure you're not on the phone.
Oh, okay. I have to disconnect from the internet. Let me plug in the 56K modem. 2 seconds. Hold on.
Did you get that? Okay, there you
got
go.
it. Tight.
Act owned, baby.
Yeah, act
I
owned.
have no idea what that means, but I am inspired.
Hell yeah. I have one. It's a guy and a girl sitting on a rooftop looking over, I guess, a city at sunset.
Mm-hmm.
And the quote says, "These days people say, 'kiss me,' without even saying, 'I don't know who I am.'"
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a real press pause moment.
Yeah, right? I don't kiss me, but I don't know who I am. I know.
Okay. I also have one. It's a picture of like an executive like in a suit sitting behind a table with like a laptop in front of them, and it's just like a bunch of like different documents spread around, and it has like a green color color filter over it. It's just like everything is green, and then red text in like very handwritten font on top of it says, "Are modern brains more critical than other brains?" Question mark.
Wow. Are they? I don't know.
That's deep. See,
That's a good
it's
question.
less like inspirational and more philosophical, I feel like.
Yeah,
it's kind of like pivoted. It used to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes, Inspirabot is great, and there was a trend on Twitter recently. They were like posting Inspirabots and like, what the fuck is this? And they were like, guys, you're late to the trend. We've been doing this for months.
We've been doing this for
It's
a
cool.
long
I like
time.
it. I like it. It's mindful.
It's
All
a-
right,
it's a
and
good
on
time.
that note, thank you everybody for tuning in
Yeah.
to Keeping It ADHD podcast this week.
Wait, hold on. We
episode 25.
didn't ask Julian if he had anything you wanted to
No,
plug.
I was just about to say,
okay, cool.
Julian, if you want to promote any upcoming projects or tell where people can find you on other platforms, go
At
ahead.
the end of Hot Ones, baby.
The red carpet is rolled.
I'm hiding. You can't find me. I'm
The
just
heck?
sneaking around.
All right, Scarfee, in
I'm hiding under my
post, we're
cowboy
just
hat.
gonna
Who you
put
fighting?
twitch.tv/Julian just right across the whole page, okay?
No, I got nothing to plug. I'm just existing on the internet. But I'm unplug this
Appreciate you.
podcast because this is a really cool podcast and people should listen
Thank
to
you
it.
so much.
We appreciate you, bud. Thank you for coming
Really
on.
appreciate you.
Sorry.
Thank you for having me. It's fun.
Bless.
Okay, and on that note, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.